Hi, this is Light and Bone Tarot. Thank you so much for being here and letting me read for you. We are doing a reading. It's about love, and the topic is signs they are thinking about you too. So this is going to be a reading for someone that you like, love, care about, that you probably don't have a whole lot of communication with and that you're thinking about. And this is, signs that they're also thinking about you. So I hope this is a good one. I have 4 piles here. These are from an oracle deck, and I really want you to just pick the picture. I can read the words on each. I'm going to zoom in for you. I can read the words on each card, but it's just whatever image, whatever picture jumps out at you, that's going to be your pile. The script on this for pile 1 is Duende. Pile 2 is Awakener. Pile 3 is Anima, Animus. And pile 4 is Dreamer. So whatever jumps out at you, you might think it's the weirdest one, the wackiest one, the scariest one, whatever. That's your pile. And we're going to find out signs that they're thinking about you too. And I hope you enjoy it. So I will see you soon. Thank you. Goodbye. This is Light and Bone Tarot, and we are doing a reading for signs they are thinking about you. You picked Duende, which is truly a word that I don't know the meaning of. I feel like I should. It sounds Spanish. But this card, to me, this card represents that feeling where you just want to scream, where you just want to yell out. I feel like it's almost this chaos. There's this chaos that's fueled by passion, kind of like this artistic, it's like right before the boiling kettle starts to whistle. There's so much going on. If you picked this and you feel like you're about to just burst or explode, or there's so much inside of you, or maybe you're so frustrated with this situation with your person, wanting to know if they're thinking about you too. If it holds that kind of energy, then I really do think this is your pile. Also with Duende, there is this message of this creativity, and with that creativity, I think it's that fire, that passion, that you have to put these thoughts, these energies to something. Like if you start writing in your journal and then you just start penning away furiously, you've just got this story to tell. There's so much behind this. So what I feel about that is if you're asking if your person's thinking about you too, I think you're there's a lot of fervor there behind it. There's a lot of just passion and just really wanting to know and really wanting to get to the bottom of something. There's a story there. I don't think this is someone that you just think about once in a while and you just thought about them for the first time and thought, oh, I wonder if they're thinking about me too. I think this is someone that you've got a backstory with, and just a real true desire for. And maybe they inspire you, maybe they're kind of like a muse, maybe you're kind of their muse, and there's this story there. There's something to it. So if you picked this, I think there's this depth, and I do think there's kind of this beautiful art to you guys. Whatever that is, there's something chaotic and beautiful about it. So that's Duende. This is your pile. I'm going to get into some tarot, and the whole point of this is we're going to find the signs that they're thinking about you. I want to know, I like to get a little bit of a backstory before I jump right in. So I want to see how you feel about this person in 3 cards. Maybe this is whether you realize it or not. This is you and your feelings for this person. Where are you at? So we've got the High Priestess. Excuse me. Queen of Swords, and this deck must be upside down. King of Cups. There is, trying to get this. The High Priestess is always, there's this mystery wrapped in this divine feminine. Excuse me, wrapped in this divine feminine. There's this very ultra feminine energy behind the High Priestess to me, but with a little edge. It's not quite the Empress. It's not totally sensual and loving. There's a little edge to it. So I don't want to say you're angry by any means, but I just get there's a sharpness there. And the Queen of Swords, this definitely brings this home. You have pretty strong feelings about whether or not this person is or isn't thinking about you. Maybe you've been waiting for them to reach out. Maybe they did something that made you angry and you had to push them away. I don't know. There's just this sense of almost rage in a way, but with thought. It's there's an intellect to it too. It's not just this crazy like fly off the handle rage. Like you could put very eloquently like why you're feeling the way you're feeling, why this person makes you feel this way. There's a lot to it, and you guys have a story. The King of Cups, I think, like brings it back around though and makes it, there is the thoughtfulness to it. There is this piece where you like emotionally want to stay intact. You don't want to blow it. You don't want to lose your cool. You don't want to say something you'll regret. Like you really want this to work, whatever this is. But there's definitely a lot here. I feel like the two of you are probably very similar. I think you guys are both like very passionate, intense people, possibly very like impulsive and hot-headed. I almost feel like you guys are this, like you're all in or you're all out. Like things are amazing or they're horrible. Like they're just, you guys kind of function in these extremes. And that's what I get from this. And this is one of your moments where it could turn into, some silence that turns into something great. And you have this like amazing fight as a result of it. And all this stuff gets cleared up, or it could be, or who knows, or one of you guys might move on. I don't know. But this is how I see you guys right now. And then I want to get into like actual hard signs that they're thinking of you as well. And I think I'm going to do some oracle, get some oracle cards for this, and I'll probably go back to the tarot. But this deck's a little dark, but not negative at all, just like a little more intense or a little more heavy, which I like, because I do think I don't see this reading taking a bad turn or this topic taking a bad turn, but it's obviously, if you want to know if this person's thinking about you too, I get the impression you're not really talking to them. There's a little bit like of a cloud over the theme of this reading. So I think this deck's appropriate, and I feel this kind of angst from you. There's an angst. But I feel like the kind of angst you have, you could pull this person. I almost feel like you're digging your heels in and not reaching out to this person. Like you're waiting for them to make the first move. It feels very much like that. Like you need them to reach out first. You need them to come to you for whatever reason. Like you're standing your ground right now, and it's making you kind of crazy, kind of like just, like you want to scream. Okay, so I want to get into just some actual signs that this person is thinking of you as well. So I'm going to turn this card over and see what we get. And we get exposed. And we have night. Exposed and we have night as these two signs that they're thinking about you. The night to me there's a mystery to it. There is this kind of like this feminine energy that comes out at night. When I think of the moon, when I think of darkness, I think of like secrets and a sense of control and almost a little like manipulation, like the way the moonlight can like manipulate something and make it look different than it is. There is something here in this message, obviously, but I have to think of how this is a sign. For exposed, I would say if you've been feeling this almost like raw vulnerability, and maybe it comes out of the blue and it's not through a conversation with this person, but things are happening that make you feel a little more seen, a little more exposed, and maybe this whole dynamic is bringing up like emotions in you that you're not totally familiar with. Like maybe it's making you think about things differently, or it's making you a little softer or a little more aware of things. I would say that is definitely a sign this person is thinking of you. There is something about this exposed piece, and I think of vulnerability. I think of being seen. I do think this person is absolutely thinking about you in those moments. And maybe it's a sign that like you're growing and this is like the growth that was needed, and they somehow see and feel that. As crazy as that sounds, I just feel like if you feel like you've been doing some growing, if you're like pushing through things that maybe before you would have like ignored or kind of like just chosen not to work with, this could be a pretty good sign that they are indeed thinking of you too. And night, I'm trying, like, I don't know if this to me is like, it could go a couple ways. It could be this, like, if you feel like you're just really coming alive at night, maybe you've always been a night person, or maybe you're just now becoming a night person, but if you have these moments really at night if there's a clarity, I guess, that comes to you when things are like dark and still and quiet, maybe if you're journaling at night, or maybe like you're putting down your phone and you're not tapped into some like external influence. You're just like thinking at night, or you're dreaming, you're having these vivid dreams. I feel like this is a sign that not only are you kind of doing the right thing and things are happening the way they should, but that this person's also thinking of you as well. Like there's just, to me, there's a lot of growth here. Like I feel like if I take these cards and put them together, the message I'm getting is like, if you feel like you're doing this tremendous growth that feels kind of just unlike anything you've ever done before in a way you haven't quite done it, I really think this is a sign that like this person's almost like pushing you to do this. This feels it does feel heavy. I don't know if like, I could almost see like you guys are so much alike, and there was so much like heat and energy that was like bottling up or boiling up between you guys. It's almost like you guys are both kind of letting off steam in a way, but there is growth. You guys do have to come back together in a way that feels like you've achieved something. And this is kind of your growth. You're working through some things. You are trying to show a different side of yourself. You're trying to get more comfortable with maybe like a softer side of yourself. And I just think with the Knight, there's this something about, whether you're remembering dreams or you're just journaling like crazy, or maybe again, it is in that silence where you aren't looking for that external input or validation. This is kind of like your time. I really do think this is a sign your person is thinking about you. And now I'm going to get some tarot to just get some hard tarot facts about why they're thinking about you as well. But I did kind of anticipate that this would be a slightly heavier reading, just given the nature of it. But your dynamic actually feels, assuming this is like a romantic, either way, it doesn't have to be romantic or not. I guess this could be anything, any dynamic you're here for, but I just tend to lean towards romance. But there is like a positive feeling here. Like I do feel like you guys, when you come together for your talk, whenever you guys come back together, there's going to be at the very least, there's going to be a lot of growth that's happened between both of you. And it's going to be very, not only interesting and like solid, it's what was needed. It was truly what was needed. And I think this is going to give you guys a whole new perspective, like a new dynamic. And I absolutely think like the tension and the passion is still going to be there, but I actually think it's going to be toned down just a little, or the emphasis is going to be taken off of like your dynamic. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of tension between you guys as a couple or as a unit, whereas now that energy can be placed on something else and you guys can like talk about it together. Like you can take a step back and look at and analyze something else together instead of like always looking at you guys as a couple. If that makes sense. Okay, I want 3 signs that this person is indeed thinking about you too. So here we go. So we have the Emperor. We have 10 of Pentacles and 4 of Cups. So I can absolutely see a story here. I'm going to start with 4 of Cups. This is a card to me of like, it's just this very sort of blah feeling. It's this sense of like almost like a numbness. Like, you know, if you have an amazing meal every night for 7 nights, on the 8th night, like you just might not care if you have an amazing meal. Like it's almost like it's almost like too much of a good thing, and now you just don't really feel anything. If you feel this, your person is thinking about you too. Especially if you feel like maybe you need a depth or a richness that this person brings to you that maybe you didn't quite understand before. Like, let's say you could have all the things you thought you wanted, like, and by that, I mean, I'm going to keep it relative. Like you could have, I don't know, all the foods you thought you wanted in a week or a day or whatever. I don't know. That's so stupid. Like, trying to think of a good example. Just an example where you kind of haven't wanted anything, but now all you really want is this person's company, or like a genuine conversation with them. If you just felt like all you really want, I guess that's it, that would really make you happy is just this person and their company, I really think this is a sign they're thinking about you too. And again, this feels a lot like growth, which is very kind of unexpected, I feel like, for this reading. But I guess this is, if you picked this, then it very well may track. 10 of Pentacles, I love this. And I feel like if you've felt yourself sort of daydreaming about like a future or a family or a home with this person, or something like very like relationship forward kind of dynamic, I just feel like this is definitely a sign that they're thinking about you too. And I would say they are thinking about how you guys could look or function in the future. And that could be like next week, next month, next year, I don't know. But I definitely feel like there's a sense of, yes, if you really find yourself like seeing a whole kind of different dynamic in life with this person, I think it's a good sign. And I think they're probably thinking along the same lines as well. And something tells me that your idea of like a ideal future with this person might look different than most people's, but that doesn't matter, because I think your person feels you on this, whatever it is. You might want to live like in a yurt by the ocean or something, or I don't know, but like this person's, they're on the same tip. Like they're just feeling you. And I think when you get these kind of thoughts about like a more domesticated lifestyle with this person and energy, they're feeling you. And the Emperor, I don't know, this to me is like you kind of releasing a little bit of control, you feeling almost this like, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, or maybe you were right, or yes, I didn't give you the credit you deserved. It's almost like when you kind of put this person on a pedestal to me, when you sing their praises, when you see them as like a kind of like someone you actually do look up to and respect, instead of someone that you're like just totally, I don't want to say a peer with, because this is your equal, but when you just give them this credit for a minute that maybe you never gave them, like actually or verbally or like in person, but just even if it's a flash where you're like, oh yeah, they were really good at that, or actually they were really kind when it came to that, or oh, they always opened the door for me, I never really thanked them for that, or whatever. Like, it's just, I think those moments, and I don't know why I get that out of the Emperor card, but I just feel like there's this kind of, if you're ever silently or even speaking like highly praising them to a friend, I also feel like this is a sign that they're thinking about you too. And I really thought that when I pulled these cards over, at least for this, other piles may be different, but I felt like the signs were going to be a little more like, oh, if you see this, if there's a bluebird like in your window or whatever, this is a sign they're thinking of you. But I feel like for you in this pile, there's so much growth here. There's so much thought. And I think for you guys to come back together or start talking again or really connect, it's like there's going to have to be, something's going to have to change. There's going to have to be like a little shift in consciousness. And that's probably going to be what does it. And so I am going to stop this reading now because because it's a little heavier than I thought it was going to be. But I like it. I really do get this feeling off the cards. I get it almost always when I do these readings. And the feeling here is very, like, there's a calm, I have to say. It doesn't feel chaotic. Like when I just looked at this card and this was the only card on the table, it did feel a little more chaotic. Like I could feel your kind of like your screams a little bit, your silent screams, or just that feeling of like, I'm about to lose my mind. I'm about to pick up my phone and like throw it against the wall. But I just feel like when I see this whole big picture, I do think you've calmed down a lot. And I don't even mean just during this reading. I mean like over the course of however long it's been that you guys haven't actually touched base. I feel like you're growing, and it seems somehow to be the thing that's needed. So yeah, I think your person is thinking about you. I think there's a lot of different ways they're thinking about you. And I think there's somehow, and it doesn't make sense if you guys aren't actually talking, but I think they're picking up on the vibes of your subtle change or growth, I guess I'll say. Not that, you're so flawed and you have to change all these things, but maybe it's what was needed to move forward with this person. So yes, they're thinking about you. Things seem very good here. It feels like there's a lot of potential here. And it feels like there's a lot of love and care and time that you guys would give each other if you wanted this to work. So I hope you liked this reading. Please like, subscribe, comment, whatever feels good. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again. So thank you so much. Goodbye. Hello, pile 2. This is Light and Bone Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. We are doing a reading for signs they are thinking about you too. So I kind of assume this is a reading about love, but I am going to try to make it open to any type of dynamic or relationship. But yes, this really is, you're going to get signs that this person is indeed thinking about you as well. So I assume that this is someone you're thinking about, someone you care about, someone you probably would like to be connecting with or talking with, and you're not, which is not really a fun space to be in. Okay, this was the card, the pile you picked, your card. And it's Awakener. And to me, Awakener is, if you picked this, I would say this speaks to, you would know that this is your pile if, well, for one, I believe it is your pile. But two, if you feel like you're just kind of in a dream, like you're in a fog, if you're in a haze, if you feel like you're just kind of passing time right now, or biding your time, or just, I could even say lost. There's this somewhat melancholy aspect to this card. And I think the story is like the Awakener is here to like just arouse you and wake you from your sleep. Like this, this stone lion who's clearly been sleeping for as long as he was made. This really is like, you just kind of need a little shake up. And I don't know if this means in some ways that you're thinking about this person too much, if you need to like break a habit or a routine, or if something's like almost keeping you stuck. But there's almost this like stagnant energy that comes with this card. So, I don't know if that's neither here nor there, or even if that speaks to you. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or otherwise, but maybe that's just validation that this really is your pile. But we're going to get some tarot, and I'm going to see you and your person, and I'm definitely going to get some real signs as to why, just that they're thinking about you as well. And I hope that's the case for you, pile 2. Okay. I want to see kind of like why you're here. What's going on with this whole thing about you wanting to know if this person's thinking about you. I just want to see it, because this to me feels, there's something about this that makes me a little bit sad. Not like you're sad or your situation's sad, but there's just a feeling I get off of this card. And honestly, if I say that, it's probably because I understand it. Like I get this energy. That's it. That's the only reason why I feel something of it. There's not anything necessarily sad about it. I get it. It's a space I've held, and I kind of see you or feel you if that tracks. So, okay, here we are. We've got Ton of Wands, Queen of Swords, and the Star. So Ton of Wands it's a card of, there's a weight, there's a burden, there's a like this never-ending task. There's just this weight, and this could feel like the weight that never gets lessened, like you're stuck kind of on a hamster wheel. I think there's a lot of different ways you can like describe this feeling, or it's different for everyone, but it just feels like this kind of never-ending cycle. Of course, nothing's never ending, and if something cycles, there's absolutely a lot of change that's going to come about. So it's not a bad thing. It's just just see this as temporary. But I would say you're just feeling a weight right now. The Queen of Swords I like, because I do actually think you're aware of this energy, and you are trying to keep your mind sharp, and you're trying to stay with, like, you're just trying to stay on top of things. I think you even trying to pull yourself out of maybe like these daydreams or these like hazy moments that just seem to go on forever, or like, the showers that go on 15 minutes longer than they should because you've just been kind of like zoning out and thinking about whatever. Like, it's just that space. I actually think it is your Queen of Swords that's like trying to rile you and wake you up. And the Star this just gives me hope. You are actually more on top of your game right now than I would have pegged you for this card. I think this card represents kind of like the rock bottom for you in regards to this situation. It doesn't mean you're not like thriving and amazing. You could be in an incredible relationship. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that your rock bottom probably felt a little bit like this. But I do think you're lifting yourself up. And I actually think now if you're here watching this, signs that they're thinking about you, I actually think you're in a better space than I would have, again, pegged you for right here. I think you're coming up, you're on the rise, you are ascending, like things are good for you. You know what you want, you're getting after it. And it's almost like I don't want to say you don't really care if this person's thinking about you. You just kind of want to know what the signs are. I don't think you're losing sleep over this. And if there is a part of it that feels like a burden, I almost feel like you've got these other things that are like counteracting that. So I don't know. You seem very strong. You seem very capable, and you don't seem necessarily hung up on this situation. I just think you want some answers, some clarity. So I like that. I'm going to get 2 oracle cards, and I want to see I kind of want to see, I'm tempted to ask what are the signs they're thinking about you as well. But I want to see your energy when you're thinking about them and their energy when they're thinking about you. And I'm doing this because I want to take the emphasis. I think you've done a very good job of taking the emphasis off of always thinking about them and always asking the question, are they thinking about me? Like, you've actually pulled yourself out of that cycle. So I don't necessarily want to put all the emphasis on like, are they thinking about you? These are just signs that I think you're on the right path. You're doing the right thing. And yes, they are thinking about you, and here's when, but that just feels like the right question. And then I will get into some tarot and ask exactly the question for the signs, but I want to see your energy when you think about them and their energy when they think about you. So this is your energy when you think about them and their energy when they think about you. And this is gifts. And so actually, when you think about them, if I look at the scavenge, it's almost like, I don't want to say rock bottom again. This is not, you are not, okay, I won't say that. I'll find another word for it. It's almost like when you're at a low point. It's almost like it was kind of like maybe a default setting that you were on for a while, but you're really not there anymore. I actually think when you think about this person, it's kind of like you almost pull yourself out of it as soon as you realize you're doing it. Like, it just, to me, I get this energy that this is someone you're moving on from or trying to move on from, or maybe subconsciously want to move on from, or even consciously want to move on from. It doesn't feel to me like this is someone that you can say without a shadow of a doubt, I love this person and want to be with them forever. I don't know. That's just the vibe. So I do think when you actually find yourself really thinking about them, I think there's almost this, I am trying to think of another word for shame behind it, because there's nothing shameful at all about it, but you almost like punish yourself a little bit for doing it. And I don't know why the scavenge card makes me think that, but it is. There's just kind of like you're at a low point. You're looking for something, like a little scrap of something that's going to like make you feel better. And then thinking about them does make you feel better for maybe 1 second, because you kind of like tap into that whatever, where things feel good for a moment. And then, you're back to being like, ugh, I'm not into it. That's what I feel. If none of this tracks, another pile is going to be totally different, because I feel like every pile with this reading is going to be very different. And I almost feel like I need to change the title, because this feels much heavier than like, I thought it was going to be fun, floaty signs your person's thinking about you, but it's taken on a different color. Okay. When they're thinking about you, this is their energy and it's gifts. So this makes me think this person is thinking about you. Maybe they feel like they want to apologize, or maybe they feel like they want to make it up or make you feel good about something, or right or wrong. It's just this sense of like they actually like when they think about you, there is this kind of goodness behind it. There's a genuine positive energy or vibe that they're sending you, or something they wish they could do for you that is actually quite kind and good. There's a goodness behind this card for me when I think of their energy when they think about you. So in other words, I don't think they're sending you like hateful messages, vibrations. I think they're actually more of a cheerleader on your side than you realize. And I could see that might even be painful, because I feel like there is this sort of healing process going on. I feel like for whatever reason, you guys aren't talking or communicating because something happened, and it's just been a process. You're working through it. There's a healing process. So if this kind of stings a little or makes you feel like, I don't want it to, I just want you to know that they just hold you in high regard. Really, that's it. And if you do ever feel like anger towards them or something, I guess I could say, for the sake of this reading, when they're thinking about you, they're not thinking about you with like an angry or negative vibe. They're really not. So if you had any like lingering, I don't know, hate or disgust or anger towards them, maybe you could drop it, because I don't really see that that's the energy they're putting out for you. But I don't actually think you really do that either. I think you've reached a kind of good point with this person. Yeah, I am going to apologize, because this is not entirely where I saw this pile going, but it happens sometimes. Okay, I'm just going to ask for 3 signs if you're still here. that they are indeed thinking about you as well. And I guess here's what you came for, because the rest of it was, I don't know what all this was. Okay. Here's 3 signs that they are indeed thinking about you as well. So we've got Strength and the Fool, and I can't turn a card over right. Ace of Wands. Okay. Okay. There's a story here for me, and I think that's my pause, because I want to tell this story, but I feel like it kind of piggybacks on everything I've already said, and I have a feeling you're not dying to hear more of that. I'll say it in just maybe a quick minute, but it does feel like you guys are kind of doing your own thing, happily in a lot of ways, but like pushing forward. The Strength is the pushing forward. The Fool is kind of like the new adventures. Like, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing me. I'm setting out. It may not be great, but I'm going to make an adventure of it. I'm going to do it anyway. Like, there's this push. Like, I feel like each of you are kind of pushing yourself, and you're being strong. And the Ace of Wands to me is like, you're trying to forge new paths. You're trying to start something fresh. You're trying to go your own way. I don't know at all that, like, I'm not saying this like, oh, you guys are never going to be together, or you won't come back together, or this is the end. That's not the energy I am or am not getting off of this. That's truly not. It just feels like right now there has been this emphasis on you guys forging your own direction and doing that. And it feels like it's been hard, and you've kind of had to work through it. But this is the energy. I do think you guys are thinking of each other when you are doing these things. Like, if you're out doing something that normally you would have done with this person, or it was something you always wanted to do with this person, and now you're doing it alone, and it's kind of like your own adventure. It is, I think when you do that, because it's so like not fun to do that maybe, or because you were so aware of like how unfun it can be. I do think that just know they're seeing you when you do that. And because I think they're doing the same thing, and I think they think of you just as you think of them when you do this. I guess that's kind of it. Like, they're also doing this. And again, that does make me a little bit sad, but it doesn't mean this might be exactly what you guys needed to do to come back together. Like, if you want this to work, maybe you guys did need to get some like autonomy and like do your own thing for a while, and whatever it was like that. So if that's what was needed, then I think you guys are both doing it. And when you do this, you think of each other. And this is actually, it's kind of sweet that you think of each other throughout these processes, because it could absolutely mean that maybe there is a way that as you work through this and do these things and take these steps, that you guys will actually have an opportunity to communicate and talk about it, and maybe share stories and whatever. But I see, for whatever reason, a kind of separate path for you, or just, you guys are in separate lanes. I don't know that you're like on paths going in opposite directions. I actually feel like you guys are on paths going in the same directions. I feel like you guys are on parallel paths. In truth, you're just on separate paths. And I really would not discount that these paths could like merge, or there's like a little fork from one path to the other. Like, I really could see that for you guys. I don't think you guys are moving in totally opposite directions at all. Like, in any way. I don't think you're doing it physically, mentally, like geographically. I think you guys are kind of in your own lane right now. So when you go through these steps to heal and move forward and do the things that maybe you guys talked about and said you need to do, I also think these, like, just know this person's also doing those things, and it makes them think of you every single freaking time they do it. So yeah, there could be a lot here for you guys. And some of the stuff I said was pretty heavy. And if it didn't totally track, then that's okay. Don't discount the whole lot. Because, like the scavenge thing, like, I guess the more I see that your guys' story, I feel like you are trying to move forward. You do realize that this could take a while, or that you can't wait. I just think there's an energy here of like, you're not going to wait for anything. You are doing your thing. You're doing you. It's not always fun, but you're very focused. You're very strong. You're very smart. And I think your person sees this and knows this about you. I don't think you ever wonder if they actually see you. I really do think they see you. But for whatever reason, you guys just had to like do your own thing for a minute, whatever that means, or however long that minute is going to last for. But yes, they are absolutely thinking about you too, really. And I just feel like this could be something that could be very sweet at some point, if that's what you wanted. And by sweet, I mean, it could turn into everything you ever wanted, or it could just be like a really beautiful story that you guys have and share. I don't know. But I hope you liked this reading. I'm sorry, I wanted it to be a little more exciting and uplifting, but there's a positive energy here. I can't really explain it without overdoing it and making it feel more sad. Like I think the more I put a word with it, the sadder it feels, but it's not sad. And I just think you're in a very good place. I feel like you're like growing and like doing things, and you're pushing yourself, and there's something very exciting and like wonderful about that. So, and your person is thinking about you. They really, really, really are thinking about you. I want you to know that. So, okay. I hope you liked this reading. If you haven't subscribed, please do if you liked this reading. And if you want to comment, I would love to hear it, and like, and all that. So thank you very much. And I hope to read for you again. Goodbye. Yee. Hello, this is Light and Bone Tarot. Thank you so much for being here and letting me read for you. This is a reading, actually, it's called Signs They Are Thinking About You, but it's taken on a little bit of a heavier twist. But yes, we are definitely going to get signs they are thinking about you. And this card, I hope does take on one of the more positive twists. This is Anima and Animus. Anima, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is like, if you picked this, I feel like you and this person, and I'm going to kind of put a romantic twist on this. I guess if you aren't reading for someone romantically, there's just certain parts that won't apply. But like, this is someone you have a true kinship with. Like, this is someone, this is like that soul, they complete you. You guys are just, there's something there. It's very deep. It's very like spiritually connected. It's very, there's a lot of layers. There's a lot to it. And you know, this is like the opposites, but like the yin, the yang, the everything. There's sun, moon, man, woman, dark, light, earth, sky. There's a little bit of everything here. So if you picked this card, your dynamic with this person, your energy, it's just deep. It's very connected. I mean, I don't know if it's a twin flame or a soulmate or something completely different, but like, it is somehow you guys are very, very connected. So I hope this reading kind of takes on a twist that you like, given we're going to find signs that they're thinking about you too. The thing about this reading, why I think they've gotten dark and heavy, is because if you don't know if they're thinking about you, I feel like it's someone you're not in contact with, and it's someone you'd probably like to be in contact with. And it's probably very painful, given the fact that this feels like they're just an extension of you somehow. Or maybe you feel like you can like feel them or read their thoughts, or you feel like you guys are, like spiritually communicating or connecting somehow. And it's just, maybe you want the validation because you're like, I really feel like I know they're thinking about me, and I want to see if the same signs are there. Like, does it track? So yeah, I do think, just looking at this, yes, absolutely, this person is thinking about you, and I want to see the signs that they are. So let's get into that. I'm going to ask first, just for a little bit of backstory, why are you here? Why, if you guys are all this, why are you here? Why do you want to know if they're thinking about you? Basically, why don't you know this? So, why don't you actually know for sure? And I think you do know, if I'm being honest, but I just want to know, why you're here. Okay. We have Queen of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, and Ace of Swords. And I need to take a minute because there's something buried here. Why are you here? Like, why? It's funny because this card feels romantic to me. I don't know, you just look at this card and there's a sense of romance. It reminds you of the Lover's card in a way from tarot. Like, But then when I look at this, it's not there. The message isn't so much about romance. Like the message is about like, there's something emotional. There's something about like life paths and new beginnings and starting things. And it's almost like there's this thing that pulled this person away. And I honestly feel like it had something to do with career, or they had to do something for them. They had to like leave or start fresh. Something they had to do for them. Maybe you guys felt too close. Maybe you guys felt like maybe there was a codependency. Maybe there was something that like made the other person just have to kind of get away or do something on their own or start something. I'm not sure, but I definitely feel like all this there's such a heavy like male, female, or just male, female, whatever. Like there's a vibe here. There's a sense of two people who like love each other and genuinely connect. And then here there's less romance and love and connection on the table, and more of like, there's a story that one, probably your person, or maybe you, I'm not even going to try to speculate right now, but one of you had to like take a step aside, separate, and very specifically do you or do them in a way that I feel like they almost couldn't do with you there, or vice versa with them there. And I do think this person is working on whatever this is, whether it's just them working on themselves, but I feel like they're growing something. I feel like they're starting something. I feel like they had to almost like go in alone, and then they're going to have to like come back to you. And there's going to be this same thing. You guys are always going to have this crazy need, but maybe, and I think of codependency. Maybe there had to be like a little bit of a boundary set. Like it feels like some kind of boundary had to be set, and someone is now working on that boundary. Okay. I absolutely know this person's thinking about you. I know they're thinking about you in so many different ways. I think they're thinking about you because they miss you like tremendously, but I also think they're thinking about you because they're reminded like, this is why I'm doing this. This is like almost like I'm doing this for us kind of thing, but separately. There's a weight here. I want to see two signs that this person's thinking about you. And I actually haven't asked the question for these cards necessarily in the other piles, but I want to know what this person's thinking, to be honest, in some ways. I want to ask that, but I also want to know the signs as well. So I'm going to first ask, what are two signs that this person is thinking about you as well? Because we know you're thinking about them. So we've got grief and we've got anomaly. Okay. Wow. The anomaly card to me is very much, they know, they see what you guys have or had or have, I hope, is just freaky. Like it's not like anything they've ever experienced before. In fact, it might have been so much that they had to just take a step back. There's something like, there's an intensity, but there's this like, I don't know, I don't want to say too much too soon because I don't think it's fully that, but there's a bit of like, they just had to take a step back. They had to see it. They had to really see if this was real. Like, is this what they're thinking it was? Was it that big, that intense? So that's what this person is thinking about you. They're thinking, oh my God, this is crazy. And functions and looks and feels unlike anything else with anyone else. The grief, yeah, I do think they're sad. I think they're sad without you. I think they are doing them, but they are absolutely sad without you. There's this recognition here completely that they recognize and see what you were, what you had, all the things, and they're absolutely sad to not have you. So I don't know how, like, these are the signs to me. This is what they think. This is what they're thinking. We're going to get signs that they're actually thinking about you as well, but this is what they're thinking. And I feel like for you hearing this, if this is tracking, is like everything. This is it, because they get it. They feel it. Maybe you were the one in the beginning that was like, what we have is amazing. You're not going to find this with someone else. You're not going to find this with the next person you date. Maybe they didn't understand it then, but if that's the case, they understand it now. Like they get that what you guys had was intense. But I do think if this is the path you guys have taken and you're not together now and you're kind of doing your own thing and you're like pushing ahead, I do think that was important, because this kind of intensity right out the gates can be, well, I think it's like impossible to maintain, and I think it can be overwhelming, and I think there can be a point where you just don't know where to go or what to do with all of that, and it can, I don't know, self-destruct, or it can become too much. Like there's just, I think this is good, and I like the anomaly card a lot. There's something here that should really put a smile on your face with this anomaly card. Same with the grief. I mean, I'll say your person, they're doing what they need to do, I think actually for you guys in a way, but yes, they are a little bit sad, and I don't want to think of anyone being sad, but like they're feeling it. Let's put it that way. They're feeling it. They're definitely in their feels. They are emotionally aware of like what's going on right now. Okay, so that's heavy, and actually as heavy as that is, that was the most positive message. So good for you for picking pile 3. I mean, I hope it tracks in the sense that like I want you to get something out of this and I want it to help, but it is sad to think that, you know, you probably thought that you found this person that you absolutely 100% should and will be with, and it sounds like maybe you aren't exactly together right now, but it doesn't mean you won't be. It doesn't mean that at all. And this process here, these cards here feel very powerful. They really do. There's something here like this person needed to feel these things, and maybe they only would feel them in an absence of you, or in an absence of, you know, talking all the time or hanging out, whatever that is. So I'm going to ask now for 3 signs that they are indeed thinking about you, and let's see if it feels as deep and positive. Okay, the Emperor. These these were in the last 2 ones. You know what? Okay, Okay, so here's the thing. The last pile, these 3 cards exactly were in this last row. When I put my cards back, I put them back at like random intervals, and I shuffle for 2 minutes. So there's no reason why these 3 cards should come up. So if you watch the last pile, I don't want you to think that like I don't shuffle. I do. And I have a different story to tell, I think, about these 3 cards. But anyway, that rarely happens. So, but I'm going to stick with it because they're your cards. They're here for a reason, and it's not because I didn't shuffle the deck. Okay, signs this person is thinking about you. I think these feel lighter to me than, for instance, in the last pile, because for me, I take these more at like a face value. Like, I think when you're feeling silly, when you're feeling hopeful, when you're feeling adventurous, I honestly think this is a sign this person is thinking about you. And I think it's like they can almost feel that happiness, that excitement from you, that burst of energy. They feel that. Somehow they can feel when you're happy. And yes, they feel it, and they're also thinking about you. And I think too, you know, if we believe in all this weird, crazy communication and vibrations and all these, I don't know, particles that talk 1,000 miles apart, like they see somehow that you're indeed doing you, that you are stepping it up, that you are trying to establish yourself like separate of them. And it puts a smile on their face, because I do think if you guys want this to work and want to come back together, there is a sense of like forming a little bit more of your own persona. And yeah, and I think this does make them happy. The Emperor card, God, I got a message off of this just now, and I'm going to share it, but I don't want it to make you feel uncomfortable in any way. This isn't me at all. I'm sorry. What I feel from this is that if you are dating, or if you are considering another person, if you're on a dating app and you're swiping, if you see a cute person and it makes you smile, they're actually thinking about you in that moment as well. And this could be a bit of a mindfuck, because I don't want you to think that it is actually a mindfuck. It's a little bit of a mindfuck, actually. It's a game, but it's also positive energy at the same time. It is that you do need to do you. I'm sorry for saying that all the time. I need another term for it, but it's it so poignantly sums up the situation for me. Yeah, when you are doing anything that is like just kind of pleasurable to you, when you're taking charge of the things you want, when you're just unapologetically doing the thing that you need or want to do, I do think your person is thinking about you in these moments. And I mean, dare I say, it actually turns them on, and they obviously aren't talking to you in these moments, but this is something that they get a kick out of. Like, it makes them either want to step up their game as well, or somehow like it makes them somehow realize or see or feel that like, oh, you might not be single forever. They might have to rise to the occasion. I don't know, whatever it is, there's just a vibe here that if you are indeed dating or considering other people or getting excited or smiling at the thought of being with someone else, or if you are with someone else, they are thinking about you when you feel this kind of genuine positive happiness about another prospect or person. As twisted as that is, that was the energy I got off of that. King of Cups, this to me is, there's just a happiness that comes off this card. There's this being in your feels, but in a very happy, positive way, when you're feeling everything, when you're feeling yourself, when you're feeling the highs, the lows, when you're genuinely like living your own life and getting it. There's such, I feel, okay, time out, because I'm just going to say I feel 100 times. It seems to me that one of you, and it feels like the other person, but it could be you, but I'm just going to say the other person, either didn't fully subscribe or understand how close you guys were, or felt, or it terrified them, quite frankly. Whatever it was, they had to take a step back. They had to remove themselves from the equation, because they either didn't think that you guys were on the same page, or they weren't at your pitch or your level. They weren't quite drinking the same Kool-Aid you were, or they were, and it freaked them the fuck out. It feels like it's one of those. And with that, this person was like, okay, I have to just do my own thing. I have to, and it does feel like it was something to do with like success and moving in a direction that, you know, benefits their growth and their trajectory and how they're going to make money and survive and just be a contributing factor of society, which I'm not saying they weren't at all. I just feel like they had to do something to better themselves, separate of you. And now they are starting to think about you and feel you and regard you and just totally recognize all the things you once said or talked about or mentioned. And this is it. And they are seeing, it's almost like they're really seeing you now. They're seeing you differently. They're seeing you as a slightly different person. I don't know that when you guys come back together, you're going to be these like little counterparts of each other. I actually think in a good way, you guys are going to have more of your own story. There's going to be a little bit of a separation, which I actually think is good, because it's going to, like I said, this would be too hard to maintain. So I realize as I talk about this reading has almost nothing to do with signs they are thinking about you. Instead, I've gone on a very specific tangent about you two, but it's what I feel, and somehow it's what the cards tell me. But if I didn't talk enough about King of Cups, I just think that when you're feeling the things on your own, when you're feeling happy and it has nothing to do with this person, that's when they're actually thinking about you, as twisted as that is. I'm going to end this reading here because it's weird and you've probably heard enough. But if you're still here and you haven't subscribed, please do. If you would like and comment, I'd, be very grateful. Thank you so much. I hope you like this, and I hope to read for you again soon. Goodbye. Hello, this is Light and Bone Tarot. Thank you so much for being here and letting me read for you. We are doing a reading for signs they are thinking about you. This is pile 4. You picked the dreamer, and I do have to say, although I don't have to say this, but I will say, these readings are kind of heavy because the overwhelming energy in each pile is that you're not really with this person, you're not in contact with them, and you would like to be. And I'm just getting these like very kind of heavy messages about kind of like your status and where their head's at and just what it all means. So it's not as fun and floaty as like, oh, and these are all the signs they're thinking about you. It's just been deep. I guess I'm just going to put that out there. But okay, so the dreamer, you picked pile 4, and this one, it looks kind of grim, but it's not. The dreamer to me is like, there's a hopefulness in this card. There is like a renew, like something's renewed. There's this freshness. There's this possibility. Like the dreamer to me, there's a very, actually, although it, again, this picture doesn't look that positive, when I read about it and when I think about it, the dreamer has this infinite possibilities. And I would say the energy I get off of this card for you and your dynamic and kind of this person and thinking about you, you're in a pretty good headspace with this person. Like, I'm not going to say you could take it or leave it, but I'm going to say that you can handle almost anything that comes your way right now. Like, you're feeling positive, you're feeling secure, you're feeling kind of like fresh of mind. You're open to different options and possibilities. I just think you're really, you have a good head about you, and about you for this situation, probably in general, but I just think that you're not a mess. You're not a hot mess. You're not chaotic. I don't know. There's just something very kind of balanced. I feel like you're really analyzing what you were, what you want to be, how you feel about this person, what they could feel for you. You're taking all the facts and you're approaching this very smart, whatever this is. And yeah, you do want to know the signs they're thinking about you too. But I feel like if I were to do this reading and show a bunch of like shitty signs, you would be like, okay, I'll crunch that data. I'll see what I need to do with that. Like, there's something very like logical and balanced about you right now, and also hopeful and positive. And it almost makes me feel like you've been going through kind of like a whatever this experience is, it's kind of changed you for the better, and you've gained a new perspective. Things that would have riled you before or like sent you into like a tizzy or a freaking spiral, they're not quite having that same effect. You just feel like you're kind of different. And I think you're about to enter into a new and, like, dare I even say, exciting time, cycle. I think there's something coming your way. I feel like there's just this excitement to this pile. I have the most optimism going into this pile as I have any of the others. So, okay, pile 4, dreamer. I want to know why you're here. Why, if you're doing so good actually in your headspace, like if things are so, and maybe you didn't even realize how good you're doing, but if you're hearing me talk and you're like, actually, no, this doesn't track. I've been a fucking mess. I feel like shit. Maybe you're doing better than you realize. Maybe you haven't been talking to your friends as much and you've been processing things on your own, but you're like externally stronger. Like I feel like there's something, whether you realize it or not, that is actually quite impressive about how you're proceeding and handling things and where you're at. So I want to know, just in 3 cards, why are you here right now? Why are you here right now? What's going on with this whole situation? 3 of Swords, okay. Ace of Wands, and the Emperor. This Emperor loves to show up. Okay, so yeah, I think this person that you're asking about, I do think they broke your heart. I really do. I think there was some pain there. I think something happened, and I do think at one point you were a freaking wreck. I really get that feeling. However, now you're all about new starts. You're all about like being the best version of you. You're about like that action, that creativity. You are all about like, you are so far off the couch. There's no wallowing. You're not wasting time. Like, you've just got this very much like, time is precious. I'm going to do the things I want to do. I'm not waiting for anyone. You're completely your own boss. You're your own, the Emperor for me in this is just, it's a message that you're not taking shit from anyone. It's your story. You're doing exactly what you want to be doing when you want to do it. It's your world. You're running your own life. You're not asking anyone for permission, for forgiveness, for anything. Like, this is you. So the question I asked was, why are you actually here right now? I do think you genuinely want to know if this person's thinking about you. I almost feel like you're asking because you aren't necessarily thinking about this person that much anymore. And I almost feel like you don't even want to go down the rabbit hole of thinking if they're thinking about you. And you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to ask the universe. fuck it, I just want to know. Let's see if I can get like a clear answer. You don't even want to have to think about if they're thinking about you. I'm not saying you're totally over this person. I'm not saying you won't get back together with them if you want to. I'm not getting an overwhelming feeling that you will, but I'm absolutely not saying you won't. Like I don't really feel like it's the right space to talk about your future with this person. I'm really going to keep it to the, like, are they thinking about you too? And the signs. And then whatever happens with you guys is just, I'm not even going to try to look into that in this reading unless I get a very heavy message saying one way or the other. And the reason is because I don't actually think you really give a shit. I think you could take or leave a situation right now, but if it didn't suit you, I think you would bounce. You're on this path of like, I am going to succeed. You've become stronger from this. You've become like more attractive from this, more interesting. Like there's a whole new you as a result of this. And it's pretty exciting. And it's almost like you never could have even dreamed you'd be in this space, in this capacity right now. But anyway, here you are watching this tarot video on YouTube and you are asking the question, what are the signs they're thinking about you? And I just kind of want to know as well, but I know that whatever I tell you, you're not really going to care all that much. And you could quite possibly forget about it the second you turn this off. Maybe this is here just to remind you that you really don't care that much. Or to show you like, look, you're over this heartbreak. This isn't you anymore. Like now it's just exciting future possibilities for you. So maybe that's part of it too. This reading feels so much more about you and so much less about this other person, that I almost don't even know where to proceed. Okay. I'm not going to use these tarots. I'm going to use these oracle cards and I'm going to ask, okay, I want to see your energy and your person's energy right now. And these cards have a semi-dark message, so just beware. I want to see your energy and their energy, and actually not like as a whole, because I think your energy as a whole is you're killing it. It would be this beautiful pink bright card with endless potential. That's your energy. I want to see your energy when you do think about this person or when you consider them as potential moving forward, or just how you regard them, and when they think of you, what's their energy. And we'll see what we get of this. So this is your energy. We've got play when you think of them, and when they think of you, we have memory. Okay. I like this. I like this a lot because the play to me represents so much. This shows me not only that you've moved on, but you can laugh at this. You can make a game of this. This is like when you talk to your ex and you actually ask them, and you ask them not because you want to have a long detailed conversation about if they're seeing someone, but because you really don't care. And you're like, okay, yeah, are you seeing someone? Like, it's just that, like, you don't care. You would ask them anything. You would broach any topic. You could laugh about things that before would have made you like sweaty and want to cry. When you think about them, I think you feel so empowered. You feel so confident. You feel so free. And there is this part of you that just kind of wants to laugh. Like there's this part of you that's like, I just don't really care. It's kind of a joke. It's kind of whatever. And I get that out of the play card. And I could also see you like with your friends. Now, when you talk about this person, it's so much more of there's a comedy behind it. There's like this satire. There's this, you've made it funny. You've taken this heartbreak and you've made it into something kind of funny. That's you. And it's such a bad bitch energy, but it's also it's so important for your growth. It's so fun. It's so sexy. It's so everything. I get this. I love it. Them, when they think about you, it's a little more sad. It's a little more like, I think it makes them think of loss. I think it makes them think of like all the things. I feel like they get flooded with memories. I think they remember everything, the good, the bad, but it's almost like it is not fun for them. You're laughing, they're crying. You know, you're not even thinking about details. You're thinking about like big concepts when you think of them, like, oh yeah, they were really funny, or oh yeah, yeah, that was a fucking ride. Or yeah, they were actually pretty cool. They were a good person. Like, it's just like big ideas. When they think of you, I feel like it's like details. Like, oh yeah, and then we got in that little fight and she said this and I felt like this or whatever. Like, I just feel like when they think about you, it's much more, I don't know, there's just a lot more details that they're recalling. In other words, you're healing and moving on and they're stuck somewhere. I don't know where they're stuck. I don't know if this makes you feel sad for them, if it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel nothing. I kind of feel like you feel nothing. I feel like for 1 second, maybe you were like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm glad. But then it probably made you sad to think of them in that situation. So whatever this is the energy I get. This reading it's really about you and your growth. And I love that for you. I am going to ask just the question as why we're here, which are, what are the signs they are thinking about you? And I'm just going to turn this over. So whatever I get. It might be overly sappy. It might be sweet. It might not be. I don't know. What are the signs they're thinking about you? Because you are regarding them, but you're not. The way you think about them, it's different. I think it's different than how they think about you. But okay, here are some signs. So here we go. 8 of Swords, which is they feel trapped. 7 of Pentacles and 2 of Wands. Okay, so I did make kind of a joke that wasn't really accurate. I don't know why I said it. When I turned over 8 of Swords, I said they do feel trapped. I don't even know what that has to do with anything. So let me think of why I actually said that and why I said it in a way where I enjoyed saying it, because I did, which is probably my energy and not yours. But there was something about it where I was like, oh, look at them. Okay. Signs they're thinking about you. I do feel like they feel a little trapped, a little stuck, a little lost, a little possibly hopeless, a little of all the things you would have wanted them to feel in the beginning. And now I actually don't think you love hearing this at all. But this is a sign they're thinking about you. They are feeling this way. And I think when they feel this way, they do think about you. I actually do think they are working on themselves, working towards whatever greater good they needed to work on. Maybe it's something, maybe they're digging their heels in with work. Maybe they're really like, I don't know, working on like a home space, like something that really does benefit their life and give them a brighter, better future. When they do that, they are actually thinking of you. And I do think they are actively bettering themselves and working towards something. And you know what? Good for them. But yes, this also makes them think of you, probably because you're almost like they know how good you're doing. They know how solid and strong you are. They know that they once had you in a way under their thumb and they don't anymore. So now you're you're the strong one. And what does that have to do with them thinking of you when they're working on themselves? I'm not sure, but they do think of you when they work on themselves. And 2 of Wands, this is probably the most positive card for them. I do think they are trying to lift themselves and do their own thing. They really are. They are actually making headway. They are consciously and actively doing something for themselves. And there's a lot of potential here for them. So they also are not sitting on the couch wallowing anymore. But they do regard you they just have a lot of respect for you, and they know they lost something. I will say in these somewhere there's an energy in this last card that made me think if you guys wanted to get back together, it could be in the cards. And this is not something I am going to elaborate on. It was just this feeling I got where it was like, oh, maybe there is still something there. Like maybe there is. Maybe when each one of you do this 180, which it looks like you've done and they're doing, maybe this could turn into something. It was a quick feeling and it's still kind of lingering, and I got it pretty strong. because this person, they're reflecting, and when they reflect, they're thinking about you, and they know that you're the reason for their reflection and their change and their growth, and they see you in a way that they never saw you before, and they have all this respect for you. And it's just this very, like, if you wanted everything to shift and change, it absolutely has. And not even in the like, oh, the ball's in your court way. That's not it. It's like you're a different person, and they actually too are becoming a different person. And now when I look at this whole big picture, I don't hate saying this, but it's so, there's a potential for a love story here moving forward. There's absolute potential for this. I can't explain it because I don't even remember exactly what I said in the beginning, but I don't think that was my energy. It felt a little more like, but you're still the bad bitch. You're still doing everything you need to do. They still caused you a lot of pain at one point. So whether they deserve to ever be with you again, whether you ever even would want to get back with them, it doesn't matter. And I don't want to end it on the note of like, you guys could get back together, but I just want to say there is an energy now that hangs over this that could be very positive if you wanted it to be. But it's just, and you know what, take that if you really shouldn't be with this person, and you're not right now. I don't at all think you are. In fact, I think your lives are you guys really had to separate. Like, you guys really aren't communicating. This is not your person. So it might be better and easier to just continue on that path of we're doing our own thing indefinitely, and just know that there is like a love and a kindness there now. And that neither one of you truly destroyed the other. You have made each other better and stronger. Okay, this is a weird direction, but these are the signs they are thinking about you as well. And I'm just going to take it back to the beginning and say that like you're very strong, and you do not have a broken heart anymore. This is not someone you need to think about at all. It's going to be an active choice for you if you do choose to start regarding them again. It would be a choice you would have to make, because right now you're just not. Okay, so I hope this was interesting to you. I hope it helped. I hope it tracks in a weird way, because some of it's sad. And please like, subscribe, comment. I would love to hear your comments. Thank you so much. Goodbye.